Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Genesis Podcast, where we discuss current topics and issues that impact our community. So let's the conversation begin. Today we have Sheila Harper with us today, and we will be discussing a new group that she'll be starting. It's called SAIL, SAIL, which stands for Supporting Addiction Through Inspired Love. And we have Sheila with us today. So Sheila, say hello to everyone.
Hello, thank you for having me.
And please, can you just tell me a little bit about yourself, about your story, and what brings you here today?
Sure. Well, my story began as a young child with addiction running through my family, starting off with a parent and ending up with two of my siblings. So this was not a new walk for me. However, I do have three children. My oldest son came forward and proclaimed that he had an addiction problem around the age of 18. From that point on, he's been through about 15 different rehab centers. With that walk, it's just been when you have hope for your child, believing and praying that this is just a phase, but it became a 13-year phase. I'm walking through this on a daily basis with him, and there just seems to be. I'm sorry, I can't get my words. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of.
It's okay.
I don't
it's
really.
Right. It's fine. It's good that you get to share from your heart, and anything that you have written down is great. But when we get to hear what's really inside of you, what's happening, then that's kind of where the gold is. So it's okay.
It's been a long walk with him. It's been a long journey, and it's been very hard.
Personally, I don't know very many people or relatives that have been in that situation, but because when I hear numbers of people that are that have that have family members or that they have loved ones that need help. I mean, nationwide you hear numbers, but it doesn't really hit me until I hear numbers like Hear and See Me, and when I know that my kids have gone to school and they might know someone, right? And that's like, wow, it really touches everyone in every community, and even for the age group, right? It affects 30 up to 70, right? So you can't say, well, it's a young person, or no, it really affects many different age groups, and so I know as you're sharing and your heart, and I know that there's people out there that are where you were, before, and so they might have challenges. So please go ahead.
So I apologize for that. You're right. Through my son's younger years, you always hear about how kids start drinking a little bit of alcohol, smoking a little bit of pot, which I guess in society is the norm. It's unfortunate when you have a group of children and you see, out of the 10, maybe 8 or 9 of them pull themselves out of that phase, and there's always one left behind. And that was my son. And from that point on, it just became an addiction from there of more stronger drugs, more partying. Then you start to see him declining in his social skills and in his academic skills, and then you just start seeing a spiral coming through. When you start to see that in your child, the first thing you want to do is enable them by trying to, plead with them, persuade them, and then you beg them, you threaten them, you offer them, I'll buy you a new car if you just stop doing this. At first you think it's something that they can actually control, and you think, well, it's just a phase you're going through, just stop doing that. But then you really start to see the depth of that addiction, and it becomes something that's very much like a disease. You cannot control it for them. You cannot wish it out of them. You cannot beg or plead it out of them. That is now something that is basically ingrained in their DNA, and it actually does change the DNA of your brain. It is a disease, and I have said this before years ago in therapy, because I've been in therapy quite a long time now. My therapist once told me, Shayla, no human being has ever woken up one day saying, today I think I'm going to self-destruct, destroy my life, and destroy all of those people around me that love me. That is not what someone does. We don't know how drugs affect one another. We don't know who's going to pull out of it and who doesn't. It's almost like roulette. You could go out for a glass of wine one night and become an alcoholic from that point on, versus the other person you're with has that one glass of wine and moves on with in life. So that is how drugs affect human beings. And my son has struggled with this since, I'm sure, before 18. He just came out when he was 18 years old to share that he had a problem with it, mostly because I had found some of the paraphernalia. From that point on, I put him in rehabs. Unfortunately, they do have a say-so in staying or leaving, and so after about 13 rehabs, he refused to go any further with it. This is something that I will not give up hope. But in the long run, it has actually caused me to walk in the season with him. And most addicts don't realize how it affects the family, how it affects those, whether I'm the parent or the sibling or the child or an extended relative of that person. We all walk through it with them. It doesn't just affect that person in that situation. It affects the whole entire family unit.
I see. And then tell me, a little bit about the support group that you want to start, SAIL. What is it about, and then who would that be for?
That would be for any family member or friend who wants to know more about what they can do to help support themselves and other family members, and love that person in their life with the problem of addiction at arm's length. You have to have a boundary, which is incredibly challenging to have a boundary when all you want to do is help and support and cure them. So this program is meant for, or this group is meant for those who are family members, parents, close friends and relatives, for support for one another, to help guide them through this, to allow themselves to have self-care, to come to remind each other that it's okay to have boundaries. It's okay to set limits. It's okay to not enable them. It's okay to say no. It's okay to love them, but not on the unconditional love that it's not healthy for that family member or that person in their life any longer. This is to come and to talk about things, to vent, to laugh, to cry, to bond with one another inside this group and outside of this group. It's for education and understanding, and remembering that the foundation is on the Word of God, and to learn prayer. Prayer is very powerful. I have witnessed it. I've been a part of it, and that's where we're hoping that this group starts to form for that foundation for others.
I see. And then for yourself, tell me what was the inspiration to start the group, or rather, when did you decide? I mean, I guess what was the big inspiration for you to, hey, I think I want to do this group. I think I really want to lead this.
One day I had text Pastor about my son, and I was struggling. This was a couple of years ago, and I was really having a hard time. I was stuck in that enabling place, yet moving out of that enabling and really trying to find my safe place in myself, because I had other children to raise, and I was kind of spiraling. And Pastor sent me this text message that really lightened up a fire in me, and I came to realize that it was up to me to find that place for myself in the Word. And he prayed, and then we started having conversations about it, and that really started that place in which I'm not alone in this. He understood, others understood, and then I started seeing others in our church, others in our community sharing the same stories. And that made me realize I am not alone. And then it made me realize there's really no support group out there. There's no gathering for this type of topic. There are other groups. There's Al-Anon. There's other things, but it's not on the Word. It's not based in Christ. And so I thought that was very important. That's the forefront of this. That's where it needs to start. And then I met Terry, the lady who had lost her two sons, and that story one night at Overflow really touched my heart, but in a deeper way. And I thought, we really need to start coming together more than just phone calls. There needs to be a secure place, a place of safety, of trust and non-judgment that we can all come together. And then I have another girlfriend whose son is in addiction as well. And my heart then reached out for her, and I thought the same thing happened. I knew this was the Lord speaking to me. And then through my own personal experience in life, I've had a parent pass away and a sibling pass away of addiction. And then I have my own son still living in addiction. And so that was when I realized this really needs to come together. I spoke with Pastor, and he had some fantastic ideas, and he was very supportive of that. And I think that's what really pulled me in, just over praying about this, and then just the fact that it's not just me. And I don't have to be alone in this, and neither does anyone else.
And, people are going to be listening to this, and families or single parents, and they're going to be in a place, and we talked about it earlier, that, they might have some challenges coming. Maybe you can kind of speak to that, of things that they might be thinking or experiencing that might be negative emotions that might hold them from coming. Maybe you can speak to that a little bit.
I'm an expert on that one. I lived in denial, and I lived in the quiet shadows of this addiction for too many years without speaking about it. The shame, the discomfort, the acknowledgement of it. What would people think about me? How would they look at me? How would they look at my family? How would they see me? How would they, everything came at a big flood over top of me emotionally. It was all negative. And that's what kept me quiet for such a long period of time. And then I realized, just by hearing one person speak out on this, the response that I saw was so overwhelmingly beautiful. There was no shame. There was no condemnation. There was no fear. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. We're speaking out about something that's not just affecting us individually, but as a community, as the entire, this is across the nations. This is not in Simi Valley alone. And unfortunately, I lived in a little part of my life where I just could not bring myself to putting that out there. And I was doing a disservice to others for keeping it to myself for so long, and that's truly how I feel. And now I speak to whoever wants to know about my story, whether they want to share back with me or whether they don't. My story is out there for others to learn from, and we all walk in this. I'm not a professional. I'm not an expert on it. We're all walking our own paths at our own times in this together.
That's great. That's great for others to hear that, because I know many are in your situation, or were in your situation as you were earlier, and so they might have some real challenges with coming. But it sounds like that yes, it can be a risk, but the actual reward is great on the other side of that. Yes. And the benefits.
That alone feels like therapy, because when you can come together with another person and speak about this wholeheartedly and openly, tears and all, laughs and all, whatever it is, that is the best therapy for the heart. And it's just an amazing feeling when you walk away. There's such a load taken off because you're not alone. And nothing has to be spoken about outside of this. It's a very safe place for everyone to come and just share however you want to share. Or if you don't want to, you can just sit and listen. It's okay.
And so whatever is shared there stays there.
Yes.
And that's, I guess, that's just the agreement that everyone has for
Yes.
it to be safe, right?
Absolutely. And for those of us who do want to share outside of there, that's wonderful. My story is open and free to share with whoever, and hoping that possibly people that do come to this group, if they know of someone else, it can trickle down. And if they need to contact me in any way directly, I'd be more than happy to talk with them privately, just to share or come to welcome them to the group as well.
And and what if there's others that, like for myself, I really don't know anyone close with that is in addiction at all, and so how could I help? Are there any things that I can do to help support the group, or maybe provide anything for the group that it might need?
Support, especially if you have a friend or if you have a loved one or someone in your community that you are acquaintances with that you know they're walking through this with a loved one, offering them support, guidance, prayer, the word. Maybe rerouting them to this group, to someone in the group, just listening with an empathetic heart, just encouragement, and like I said, with prayer and the word, I think that's one of the biggest factors of support.
So Sheila, thank you so much. So if someone wanted more information, who should they contact?
You can go ahead and contact New Beginnings, the front office. They'll have more information for you, and they'll have the email address, the physical address of the location where the meetings are going to be held on Wednesday, starting at 6:30. And they also have a phone number. There's someone at the front office that will answer. If there's no one there to answer, go ahead and leave a message, and they'll call you back. And then we hope to see you there.
Well, Sheila, I want to say thank you for coming today and sharing your heart. And I want to say thank you to the Genesis population. Thank you for listening today, and you have a great day.